Queensland's marathon 5-week election campaign is officially underway. All the polls show the Bligh Labor government will be comprehensively beaten on March 24. Patrick Condren joins us live from Parliament House. Pat, is the LNP upbeat about the chances of victory?
Privately, they are very confident, Angie. Publicly, they're sticking to their rehearsed lines. But this will be the most brutal and the most important campaign in a generation. At this stage, it's Campbell Newman and the LNPs to lose. From Government House, where she dissolved Parliament...
Looking forward to it, 24th of March.
The Premier made a beeline for Ashgrove.
Everyone, Anna Bligh's here!
The seat Campbell Newman must win if he's to become Premier.
Folks, we've all seen the polls and you know that they're not good for us.
That's an understatement. For months, Labor has been dogged by poor polls, which have consistently shown they'll be thrown out of office on March 24. The latest Galaxy survey has, on a two-party preferred basis, the ALP trailing the opposition 40 to 60%.
If you wanted an easy job, you wouldn't be doing this one. We've never walked away from a fight and my team are absolutely match fit.
They'll need to be to peg back some ground and stop the ALP being reduced to a cricket team in Parliament. Make no mistake, the main battleground for this 5-week political war will be right here in Ashgrove, as evidenced by the fact that the Premier has broken with tradition and held her first main campaign appearance here with Kate Jones. Mr Newman still refuses to answer the leadership question of who'll be in charge if he doesn't win Ashgrove.
We won't win this campaign across the state if we don't win seats like Ashgrove. There are candidates here.
That's factually incorrect.
Well, I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Two men who could be in charge if he loses were kept out of the spotlight today, so Mr Newman could hammer home his message.
It is time for a change.
And while there's been plenty of policy plans, there's been very little detail.
Are you all fired up? Yeah. Hey, too right.
And this is Anna Bligh's second campaign as Premier, and it will be her toughest yet. I spoke with Anna Bligh a short time ago. Premier, you say you're in the fight of your political life. It doesn't matter how much fight you've got in you if people aren't listening anymore.
As we move into the formal campaign, I expect that Queenslanders will be watching. They'll be watching me, they'll be watching my opponent, and they'll be making the decision that will matter for Queensland and its future. We are at a crossroads. We have so much opportunity ahead of us, and I don't think we should be risking with an untried mob, with a leader that may not even win.
But the polls show that people are going to risk the other mob.
What the polls tell me is that we've got a lot of ground to cover and we're going to work very hard to close that gap. Patrick, I'm a fighter. I don't give up, and Queensland's worth fighting
for. But the
for.
polls have been consistently bad for you. That must be a concern.
Sure, I've got ground to make up. There's no hiding the facts there. But, you know, this is something that's really worth fighting for. What is it? Queensland's future. We've got to make sure we make the right decision. I don't think Campbell Newman is it.
And we're joined now by Campbell Newman, who wants to be Premier. Have you got the goods?
Well, Pat, we'll know what the people of Queensland think about that. But I've got a plan, I've got a great team, I've got the high energy I brought to the Mayoralty in Brisbane, and we're raring to go. So I'm looking forward to the next 5 weeks. Leadership
will be an issue. If Jeff Seeney is good enough to be your deputy as Premier, which you've said previously, why isn't he good enough to lead the state as Premier if you don't win Ashgrove?
Well, Pat, you're going to get the same answer, and this is a contest between Anna Bligh and Campbell Newman, and people in Ashgrove understand that. In fact, people across Queensland understand that, and I'm totally convinced.
But do they really understand that, given that you aren't in this Parliament that's standing behind us, you're not in there yet, and you need to win Ashgrove?
Very much so, Pat. They understand that because, remember, I've been campaigning there for a long time, and you know, I've been associated with that community for 26 years. When I first came to Brisbane as a young army officer at the barracks, and we got married there, so I know this area, and I know the sort of people that are there, and I know what they're telling me.
You blokes must be toey about your chances there at Ashgrove, because you had a swag of MPs out door knocking last weekend.
Oh, look, we're just trying to show to people in the electorate that Ashgrove is important to not only me, as the potential future member, but also to the people of Queensland. I mean, they've got a big decision to make. But I'm really confident from what I hear that they're going to get right behind giving Queensland change.
You've got 5 weeks to prosecute that case. Thanks for your time this evening.
Thanks a lot.
And Angie, it will be a long and hot campaign, as the Premier said.